Believe it or not, Marjorie Taylor Greene won't stop telling the truth. That truth being that the Republican Party sucks, and House Democrats also made that case today during a ridiculous congressional hearing that we have to talk about. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bell before you go. All right, friends, so we have many clips to look at in this video, and we're going to start with Marjorie Taylor Greene because it's always fun to use Republicans' words against them, especially someone who is devoutly loyal to Trump, as MTG is. We're going to play a couple of clips just from the past few hours.
The Republican Party doesn't follow through on what they say and promise.
The Republican Party doesn't follow through on what they say and promise. Makes sense, right? Because they're a locus, they're a nexus of pathological dishonesty and demagoguery. She also made this case on Steve Bannon's War Room podcast as well.
People are fed up with this. They're looking at Republicans in Washington and laughing at us. They think we are a complete joke, and I'll say it over and over again.
And I'm so glad that you do. You should say it over and over again. She has said it over and over again. Marjorie Taylor Greene has been one of the Republican Party's worst and most fervent critics. And listen, when Democrats make the case, they're typically firmer on the facts. They have better rhetoric. But it doesn't quite land for a lot of people because, of course, Democrats are going to say that the Republicans suck. But when Republicans say that the Republicans suck, it's just chef's kiss. It really is. It feeds my schadenfreude. Now, I want you to note that she said that everybody's laughing at us being the Republicans. I want you to remember that. We're going to come back to that. And I want to play some clips from a congressional hearing today, led by Jim Jordan, of course. And it's about the classified documents investigation into President Biden. As a matter of fact, we may do multiple videos about this because I've been listening to it. It lasted 5 hours, and there's actually a lot of good content there. So as a reminder, before I play the clip, President Biden was investigated for potential mishandling of classified documents by a Trump-appointed attorney who was made special counsel by Biden's own attorney general, right? So again, Biden's Justice Department allowed a Trump appointee to investigate the president. That's how far Biden's Department of Justice bends over backwards to accommodate Republicans and conservatives who say the Department of Justice has been radicalized and it's been weaponized. No, we basically give you everything you want except a very specific outcome. And after the investigation, Robert Hur, the special counsel in question, said, listen, there's some evidence to indicate that President Biden, mishandled classified documents, but a lot that he didn't. We can't make the case beyond all reasonable doubt, so we're not going to press charges. We're not going to recommend charges, right? Pretty open and shut. They couldn't make the case. Then Republicans had a hearing about it in Congress. They brought Robert Hur in to testify, and Hur went out of his way to use gratuitous language to embarrass President Biden. So it's not like Hur is in the bag for Biden, which makes sense. But Hur stood by his stance. He's like, listen, I couldn't make the case beyond all reasonable doubt. There were plenty of innocent and reasonable explanations for why Biden had the documents. Biden cooperated every step of the way. He could be seen as a sympathetic figure on testimony. There were multiple reasons why Hur felt that he couldn't make the case, which is why he declined to bring charges. But that wasn't good enough for Republicans. So even though they have the transcripts of all the conversations between Hur and the president, now they demand the audio tapes. They demand the audio tapes. And because the Department of Justice won't turn it over, they're like, listen, you have the transcripts. You know everything that President Biden said and Robert Hur said. You have a copy of everything. We're not going to give you the audio stuff because it's redundant and serves no legislative purpose, and it would be only used to embarrass the president. Now they want to hold Attorney General Merrick Garland in contempt for not giving them everything they want. So we're going to play some of these clips because Eric Swalwell, one of my favorite Democratic congressmen, he called out the Republicans for their inability to do anything. They're wasting time tilting at windmills, which further proves Marjorie Taylor Greene's inadvertent point.
Well, it's nice to see that some of my colleagues on the other side could make it today. I don't know if that means that there weren't enough seats in the courtroom in New York. But I know that the Oversight Committee canceled a hearing that was supposed to happen right now on this matter so that they could be at the president's trial. I know some members will miss this vote because they want to be at the president's trial. And I don't think that anything could animate the phrase, do nothing Congress more than missing votes and canceling hearings to go up and be a spectator at your cult leader's trial. That is the definition of do nothing Congress. But I'm here for a celebration because, let's raise a glass. It's been about 2 years this week, May 12 is when Jim Jordan, our chairman, was subpoenaed and asked to comply with his subpoena for his role, his interaction with the former president. Well, it's nice to see.
So again, great from Eric Swalwell calling it out. Listen, it's a cult. You guys have no legislative purpose. You have no ambitious legislative agenda. All you want to do is own the libs, and that's it. You can barely even do that. You're endlessly tilting at windmills. And those of you who are here, most of you wanted to be, sitting outside the courtroom or inside the courtroom for Donald Trump's Manhattan trial. By the way, this particular congressional hearing was canceled and rescheduled to accommodate Republicans who wanted to go and give their moral support to Donald Trump in his Manhattan trial. Folks, these people are losers. They really are. The Republicans in Congress are just abject cultist losers. Others have made the case, too. I think this is Jerry Nadler. Yeah, Jerry Nadler, the ranking member of this particular committee. He also makes the case that the GOP has failed spectacularly. And based on every other metric, right, if there was any other context in which the Republicans in question failed so utterly, like if they were employed by just a company, they'd be fired for their incompetence.
20 million taxpayer dollars. Chairman Jordan, who consistently opposes government spending on everything from feeding children to education and health care, has spent 20 million taxpayer dollars of this Congress to investigate his various conspiracy theories. And what exactly has he delivered to the American people on their $20 million investment? Exactly nothing. No evidence that the conspiracies are true, no indictments, no impeachment, no wins of any significance. If the chairman of a board of directors took $20 million from the shareholders of a company and delivered nothing, he'd be fired at the next board meeting. And the chairman knows that if he doesn't come up with something to show for the $20 million he spent, the MAGA political base may stay home next November.
Again, great point all the way around. I love the fact that he threw that jab into Jim Jordan. Again, you guys are a do-nothing Congress. You oppose the spending of federal funds to feed the poor, to feed kids, to feed the sick, to actually do things with some sort of legislative purpose. Remember, Jim Jordan is literally the least productive member of Congress. He has co-sponsored no bills which have ever passed. He has authored no bills which have ever passed. He doesn't feel that his job in a legislature is to legislate. Okay, but he is happy to throw your taxpayer money, my taxpayer money, at a baseless sham impeachment effort against President Biden just to hurt Biden and help Jim Jordan's own cult leader in an election year. So I love that contrast. And I love that, he's saying, listen, if you didn't have the job security associated with being a public official, if you weren't serving out a term, if you could be fired at will by your employees or by, fellow members of the board, so to speak, you would be fired for your incompetence. Again, just great stuff. Bringing it back full circle, Marjorie Taylor Greene in her second clip said, listen, people are laughing at us. We suck so bad. People are laughing at us. Well, that actually happened in the court or the congressional hearing today, in which Republicans, and this is where it gets so ridiculous. Again, Republicans are trying to get audio footage of the deposition every time President Biden spoke with Special Counsel Robert Hur. They have the transcripts, the verbatim transcripts, but they demand the audio. And then at the same time, during the course of this hearing, they have suppressed evidence of misconduct by Jim Jordan. And a Democrat calls them out for the hypocrisy that you demand evidence you don't need because you have the transcripts against Biden, but you suppress anything that makes Jim Jordan, your fellow Republican, look bad. Funny stuff. Watch how everyone in the room reacts.
The amendment discloses committee record that has not been released in violation of House rules.
Well, but
how about my amended amendment? I'm taking out the testimony which this committee, the majority on the committee, does not want revealed. And I guess I don't even want to ask, can we get the audio of that?
Again, that's how absurd things are, folks. The flagrant, blatant double standards within the Republican Party. Again, They demand everything. They give nothing in return. They defy the standards they tried to impose on everybody else when Donald Trump was impeached. The absurdity never ends. Their shamelessness is their superpower. There's so many great moments from this hearing, but I just wanted to emphasize here that everything Marjorie Taylor Greene had to say about the Republican Party is absolutely true. They're losers. They suck at what they do. And that's why as the November election rapidly approaches, people should remember this, and you and I should do our part to remind them. The GOP can't govern. The GOP has no interest in governing. They are simply an authoritarian cult of personality loyal to a loser former reality TV star. That's all they are, and that's exactly how we should treat them. Let me know what you think in the comments.